79% of large companies are already using AI agents, and they're saving 20 plus hours per week times the number of workers. What if I told you you could clone yourself 5 times over and take advantage of AI just like they're doing? In this video, I'm going to show you the exact type of AI agents entrepreneurs are using to save between 20 and 30 hours per week of repetitive work that could be done by a machine. So let's talk about the entrepreneur time crisis. One of the things about being an entrepreneur is generally you're wearing way too many hats. You're doing sales, you're doing marketing, you're doing customer services, you're running operations. You're doing everything yourself often, all with a very small staff. You could be working up to 60 to 80 hours per week, but still falling behind in everything you need to do because there's just so much stuff to do. And the worst bit is that competitors with bigger teams can outpace you every day of the week. Yes, having a small team means you're more agile and you can change quickly, but when you have big teams, you can farm the jobs out and people can specialize in that one area and focus. And that's one thing that you'll find very hard to do as an entrepreneur because you're wearing so many hats. The old solution really isn't working as well as it did. We can't afford to hire full teams. Things are costly now. It's a lot more expensive to hire people. VAs need training and management, which means that you're also having to spend a lot of your time getting them to be the best people they can be for your team. And if you don't have that time already, how are you going to put it into training and management? So whether you go for staff in-house or VAs, it's going to cost you to get them up to where they need to be. And one of the problems with many automation tools, which is one of the alternatives, is that they are too rigid and they break easy. You can set up your automations, and I do use automations, I use a lot of them, but they break, which means I'm constantly having to watch over them or have someone else that I pay to make sure that they are working on them. So it doesn't necessarily solve the problem because once they're done, they're not set and forget. The new reality is that we are now seeing AI agents hitting the market. That market is now worth approximately $7.6 billion in 2025. And AI agents are tools that are set up to do a specific job. They can think for themselves to a certain degree. You can give them information to help them make those decisions, but you don't have to be writing them like you do a series of steps if you're using make.com or N8N or something like that. 96% of enterprises are now expanding their AI use into their everyday business, and agents is making it easier for them. 62% are reporting a return on investment of over 100% on the AI agents they're using. So how can we get around this problem when we are entrepreneurs and we don't have the ability that big companies do to invest so much money into AI? So what are AI agents? The first thing is you need to understand what they actually are. They're not chatbots. As I previously mentioned, they take action and don't just respond to things, meaning that they can actively take steps on their own. For example, they can look at your email and send responses. They don't just look at it. They know that when they find an email that they're to respond to the email. They're autonomous, meaning that they can handle entire workflows rather than just single steps. You check the email, you reply, you put it into draft mode. All those things it can do without you talking to it, without you giving it instructions. It's just a case of read and reply to all new email. Very simple. And one of the things I really like is the fact that they're available 24/7. They never get tired and they're constantly improving because you can now set up systems that allow them to learn from their mistakes. So you can review their work, show them where they're wrong, give them good examples of what's right, and the AI can learn from that. In fact, I was watching another video last night. It was very interesting where someone's developed this particular technique to be used with N8N, and it's not that hard to implement. So even if you're not using a full-blown AI agent, you can start to bring this in the smaller AI agents in your automations. So what's the difference between agents and regular AI tools? Traditional AI is all about answering a question. You give it a question, it spits out an answer. It might go and do some research, it might give you advice, but in the end, it's something in, something out. AI agents, it's all about handle this task from start to finish. I want to book a flight to Cairns on December 15th, and I need a hotel to stay in that's under $200 a night. It goes away, it comes back and says, here's your tickets, here's your hotel. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? Now, we're not quite there yet. We can do some of those things. It does all of the steps without you being involved. So let me show you 5 AI agents that every entrepreneur needs. Agent number 1, an AI sales and outreach agent. You can save up to 10 or 15 hours a week if you have an agent that's actually making the outreach for you. Problems that you face commonly in this area is that you have prospecting, which eats up many hours a week. Your follow-up calls fall through the cracks because you get caught up in the initial calls and you don't have to remember to call people back. So what are some of the solutions to this? We have reply.io with Jason AI, and that is a fully autonomous sales agent. Clay, which is a lead research and enrichment tool, and Lindy AI, which is a no-code automation tool, can help you create these agents or work as pure agents themselves for you to do your outreach and your lead generation. So they can identify qualified leads from multiple sources. They can research prospects using 50 plus different data sources. They can craft personalized outreach email across LinkedIn, SMS, WhatsApp, even make phone calls. And they can handle objections and book meetings autonomously. And of course, they can update your CRM and your booking calendar. So they do all of the work if you find the right tool for your particular use. Now, many companies are seeing results from this already. Verizon is seeing a 40% increase in sales. They're seeing a 37% cost savings in operations. And people are spending 6% less time in editing and 23% more time in strategy. And you can check those numbers. They're there on the internet. Agent number 2, AI content creation agents. You can save 5 to 8 hours a week or more creating content using agents to do it. The real problem is that content creation takes many hours per piece. And repurposing content manually is quite tedious. You sit there and you cut things and you paste and choose this bit and choose that bit. AI can do that for you without you having to do all the hard lifting. And I'm sure you're aware of that already. One of the other sides to it is AI can keep up with the changes in the multiple platforms that you're trying to post to. So it can adjust what it's posting based on the requirement of the platform. Some great examples, Cast Magic, which I particularly love. You upload your file, whether it be audio, video, and it will create all sorts of content for you at the press of a button. And it's all done at once instead of having to prompt it to do different pieces. Canva Magic Studio can create visual design and take your content and turn it into really interesting pieces of content you can share out. Descript.com can also be used for video and audio clips, and you can cut them, use them all over your social media reels and all sorts of other places, and really simple to use. So what do? In essence, they can turn one piece of content into 20 plus pieces of content. You can generate your blog posts, your social media, your email campaigns. You can get professional graphics created. You can even edit your videos using transcripts. So you're only cutting the text rather than having to cut the video itself, which makes life a lot easier. And the output can be optimized for SEO so that it works for you on the internet. You don't want to forget SEO. It is still a key thing. People search by topic or theme. The real results are showing that 88% of marketers are now using AI on a daily basis for content. And that raises a whole lot of other questions about quality. But we'll come back to that in another video. You can reduce 5 hours of work to less than 30 minutes. 51% are also reporting better SEO results. Why? Because they probably weren't good at SEO in the first place. And the machine can take the basis of SEO and make sure that all the things that the search engines are looking for is built into your new content. Agent number 3 is the AI customer service agent. This can save you many hours per week. The problems that you generally face in this area is that customers are constantly interrupting your workflow. And many of the questions they ask are repeated questions, meaning that they're common across people. Now that tells me 2 things. One, maybe you need some better material for FAQs and that sort of stuff to cover that. Or alternatively, you can create an AI that can answer those questions for them. And the best thing is that even if you can't afford a 24/7 support team, an AI chatbot can actually take over that for you. Now, there's a range of different solutions. You've got Intercom Fin, which is a GPT-powered support service, Nextiva, and Zendesk AI, which is a ticket automation tool. They're all available, and easily you can find replacements for those, whether they be open source, cheap, or expensive. It really depends on your budget. What they're really there to do is to answer questions 24/7. They resolve what would normally be in fax or that your people would answer the phone for without human help. And so they can triage the problems that people are facing, work out what's going wrong, and then point them in the right direction of the right answer. And the best bit is they can actually learn from past interactions with other clients and the answers that were given and the questions that were asked, and create new content based on what's worked in the past. Seeing results in the area of 25% reduction in the number of cases being handled by people, 75% better customer satisfaction scores, and 90% of large-scale businesses are using chatbots in this way. All you've got to do is go to your phone provider or your internet provider, and you'll see these sorts of chatbots being used to handle customer problems. And you, being the customer, get to experience that. Now, some of them are better than others, but you can see how it could be used in your business if you look at the way the interaction happens. Agent number 4, AI scheduling and productivity agents. One of the biggest problems people face is they've got so much going on around them. So they end up with real chaos on their calendar, and they have endless emails flying back and forth. Switching between different projects kills productivity. So every time you get the chaos and you're trying to sort out the problems, you then lose productivity on other things you're working on. So important tasks get buried by urgency. And this is really important because we often see this where urgent overtakes important. And when you're a small business owner or an entrepreneur, that happens a lot. When you have a lot more staff, that's not as much of an issue because you can hand off things to certain people and keep other people on task. So some of the top solutions are Motion, which is an AI planning and specialized agents to work with you to manage your day, Reclaim.ai, and of course, Notion. Notion has the ability for workspace automation and managing your day. So they can do all sorts of things, from scheduling meetings based on priorities automatically. In other words, it knows what your priorities are and it schedules your meetings based on that. So urgent doesn't overtake important. Can protect deep work blocks from interruptions so that when you're locked in a work block, you don't get interrupted by calls or meetings all of a sudden. It can reorganize your calendar when things change. So if you take one meeting out, it can move things around for you. It can send meeting summaries and action items, and it can track tasks across different projects intelligently. So you can see that all tasks are being completed. The real results are you're getting 23% faster speed to market, 50% gain in sales use cases where keeping the calls flowing and keeping projects moving is working really well, and a 70% reduction in scheduling back and forth because the AI is dealing with those back and forths between you and your client rather than you having to do it. The key thing you've got to do is actually work to the calendar. You have to be aware of your calendar. You need your calendar open because the scheduling may change and you won't have been told because the AI is moving things around as necessary. Always remember, if you're going to use these sort of tools, make sure you sit down and set all of the parameters, as in my lunchtime is this time, I finish work at this time, so that your calendar doesn't get booked up at all the wrong times when you should be out doing other things. Agent number 5, AI research and data analysis agents. This can save you quite a few hours a week. We're always doing some background research. So why not hand it over to AI? Market research can take days, and much of the data you collect along the way throughout your business life is sitting in spreadsheets unused because there's so much data, we can't go through it. So we've got market research and we've got data analysis, but we don't have time to look at either. And sometimes you've got to bring in a specialist. AI can work as that specialist. The other thing that I see a lot is analysis paralysis, meaning that you've got so much stuff to look at that you just give up. It is amazing when you feed data to an AI for the first time and see how it interprets that. It can really change your life as far as being able to deal with large amounts of data. So taking a whole set of documents and feeding it into an AI and then getting responses back based on that data or analysis back on that data. So GenSpark Deep Research is one that I particularly like. Perplexity AI can do all sorts of things. And Pecan AI is a predictive analytics no-code tool that you can use also to go through your data. They're able to conduct market and competitive research, synthesize information from multiple sources at once. So in other words, look at everything that's going on, not just one source. They can take the data in spreadsheets and transform it into visual information that you can interpret more easily, predict customer behavior and trends based on previous data, and answer complex business questions in plain English. And I like this one because when I'm getting answers, I don't want fancy jargon and things like that. I want it to be in human language that I can understand. And I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. So having it in plain language makes all the difference. 69% of organizations are using AI for analytics now. And if you're not one of them, you're really missing out on the power of understanding your data. Research tasks that used to take days now can take minutes, literally. And AI task completion rate is doubling every 7 months, meaning that it's finishing things faster. Individually, this adds up to a lot of time savings, but if you use AI agents to link themselves together, the result could be enormous. Imagine saving 10 to 20 hours a week because AI agents are carrying some of your load. It would make a massive difference to your life. So start looking at what it is that you can give to AI agents. You can get back an entire work day every week. You can focus on strategies, not operations. You can compete with companies that are probably 10 times your size. And you could actually take weekends off. That would be pretty cool. So how do you implement this? First of all, start with 1 or 2 tools, not hundreds of tools. Don't skip the setup and the training because you need to make sure you learn how to use the tool properly or one of your team does. Verify the output. When you get data back, look at it and read it and make sure you understand it. Is it hallucinating or are you getting real answers? You need to be sure of that before you completely hand over a task. And don't use AI for decisions requiring human judgment. If it's a judgment that requires you to be involved, then take responsibility for that. AI can advise you, but in the end, it's your business. It's your decision. So week 1, pick your biggest pain point, likely sales or content creation. Let's face facts. Week 2 to 4, implement one agent in each area and train it on your processes so that it knows what you want. Week 5, measure results. Look at the time saved and the quality maintained. See that it's working for you in the way you want it to work. And week 6, add another agent for your next biggest pain point. And repeat until you've deployed agents in all 5 of the areas that I've talked about today. What is the main critical success factor in using AI in your business? 87% of people say that integration with existing tools is the most crucial factor in using AI. Why? Because you've invested a lot of time into your CRM, into your analytics collection, into your data collection, into your accounting software. And having to take that data and manually pull it out to give it to AI is a big time waster. So what you're looking for is tools that can integrate. Now you may need to use something like Make or N8N to connect the two together, or Zapier, but you need to be able to integrate them. And that is so important because otherwise you're going to just spend more time getting the data out to give it to the AI to save time. So you're back where you started from. 96% of large businesses are expanding their AI agent usage, and your competitors are already starting to use AI themselves. The gap between people who are adopting AI and those who are lagging behind is widening fast. Your next step is don't try to implement all 5 at once. Start with one agent this week, fix one problem, track your time for the next 30 days, and then add in the next AI agent. The entrepreneurs winning in 2025 aren't working harder. They're building smarter systems. AI agents aren't about replacing you. They're about multiplying you. So if you're looking to replace yourself, that might not be the smart place to start. The first question isn't, should you use AI agents? The first question you need to ask yourself is, which agent do I need to deploy first? That brings me to the end of the video. Please drop a comment in the comments below if you found this interesting, or if you've got any questions. If you did enjoy the content today, please subscribe and share the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.